Hello and welcome back to another new edition of Windows and Current Affairs. And today actually is a special episode. Why? Because it's an episode that is totally dedicated to the festivities and Christmas and New Year, and in particular 7th of January, Orthodox Christmas. And of course all Egyptians are going to celebrate Christmas on 7th of January, and there is a huge ceremony is going to be held at the church, and of course attended by all Egyptians, inshallah. And of course we already celebrated New Year, but with the advent of the New Year and with the advent of Christmas and talking about all the festivities and the blessings, the spiritual blessings of this particular time of the year, we can't celebrate without remembering the flight of the Holy Family, or the trip of the Holy Family that was taken by, peace be upon her, Virgin Mary, and back then baby Jesus, peace be upon him, and Joseph. Of course, it's a sacred story, and we all know that as Egyptians, of course, and probably the whole world knows about this story. Today we're going to take a look over that very, very special event and remember together the highlights and the stops of the Holy Family entering Egypt until they leave Egypt in peace. And that's why Egypt was the only country that was mentioned in the holy books, both the old Bibles, for its safety, for generosity of its people, and how it's a safe haven. It was a safe haven for baby Jesus and his mom, peace be upon her, Virgin Mary. Very delighted to be having with us our dear guest, as usual, Rana Ihab. She's a heritage researcher. Hello. Good evening, Rana, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, to you too.
Of course, as we said that together by this time of the year, by the time of Christmas, as we celebrate, we also celebrate the flight of the Holy Family. Of course, they entered Egypt for safety, and as God ordered Joseph to take the boy and his mother and go to Egypt, he was ordered by God to be taken, to take the both of them and go to Egypt immediately in order to save them. And that's what happened actually until the end of the story. So talk to me about how this time of the year is very special to all Egyptians first, before we talk about the importance of the trip of the Holy Family.
Actually, if we are talking about this point especially, we will find that Egypt is the safe place from thousands of years ago. When they want to hurry up from the persecution of the Romans in that time, and they looking for a peace place to be in, a people they feel they love them. Actually, for sure they will not find any place in the world except Egypt. They are coming from Sinai, and they are stopped in many stations and many stop points in all Egypt. And with each stop point, actually we have amazing story. Even it happened here from Sinai to Asyut, the city. They are stopped then and they returned back to Sinai. Actually, some resources mentioned that they approximately lived here in Egypt for around 4 years. They lived with the Egyptian people. The Egyptian peoples loved them, and they offered to them anything they actually need. And in each point they are stopped, we will find the Egyptian people surround them, protect them from the persecution, and a lot of things. Actually, if we are looking for or talking about the persecution of the Christian Coptic in that time, we will find also the ancient Egyptian temples and pyramids played a very important role, because actually we have in the oldest pyramid in the world, the pyramid of Saqqara. We have during the restoration of the pyramid, we found and we discovered a small room, and this small room, during our researches about the sentences that are written there, we will found that the sense from the church coming to hide in this place under the cover of the pyramid of Saqqara, or the step pyramid. So actually this gave us an indication that Egypt is the safe place for all the people from all the time. When Virgin Mary and her child want to search about the place, they decided to go Egypt, because for sure they heard or they know that Egypt is the perfect place to be in peace at that time. To talking about the Holy Family trip or journey, this is one of the most happy event that we could mention, and actually it's finally listed in one of the most amazing and tangible list world in all the world, that we have around 6 intangible heritage in the world list about Egypt, and with adding the trip or the journey of the Holy Family in Egypt, actually it was amazing. Sometimes people mention this topic as a Coptic Egypt. So the first thing come in their minds when we mention the word of Coptic, that we mentioned only the Christian people. But to correct this idea or this sentence, Coptic mean Egyptians. Exactly, if they are Muslims or if they are Christians, because this word is divided from the old name of Gabt, which is mean Egypt at that time. So this is one of the most known things in the people in Egypt here and all the world. When we mention Coptic, it's mean only the Christian, but actually it's mean the Christian people and the Muslim people.
Of course, and like you said, you mentioned a very important fact, which is the Coptic people are originally the Egyptians, and that's why by the time we celebrate Christmas here in Egypt, which is January 7th, you find all Egyptians. They go to the cathedral. It's not only Christians.
Exactly.
It's Muslims and Christians, and generally Egyptians. And also, by night time, they celebrate together. I mean, they eat together. They have nice time together. They exchange the gifts.
Yes, exactly.
Just like it's like they're having any normal festivity here in Egypt, which is very distinguished amongst other countries.
Yes, exactly.
You find here that Christmas is a very common festivity that is not related to any religion.
Exactly, here is the point. When we said a Virgin Mary and her children, actually this is apart from the Islamic religion, that we believe in the Virgin Mary and we believe in the Prophet. So at that time, when we celebrate together by the journey of the Holy Family, we celebrate because this is a part from our religion. We believe in them, that this is the part from our religion, and also for the Christian people. So we do everything together. We celebrate together because they are in the Egyptian land. And at the end, so we will find the people exchange the food together, playing together. They have a tradition, special tradition. All the people going to the cathedral, as you mentioned, to celebrate with the coming of the Holy Family and the Virgin Mary to the land of Egypt. So all of this will tell all the people around the world that we will be one person forever. We will be. We are not talking about they are Christian or they are Muslims. Even in the mega events that we have from our history, we will find the Christian people stand beside the Muslims people, which is mean we didn't have the mind of no, I love my religion and I will not share it with the others. That also happened in the Muslims festival like Ramadan or Eid or something. We will find also
Ramadan is another example.
Exactly.
Of course, what distinguishes Egyptians is the word, only one word that defines Egyptians, which is tolerance.
Yes.
When you mention tolerance, it's Egypt.
Exactly.
And that's truly, we're not exaggerating. Whenever you come over to Egypt, you can feel that word to the bone. You come over here, you don't know if that person is Egyptian or no Egyptian, if he's Christian or a Muslim. I mean, everybody is friendly, everybody is accepting the other, they rejoicing, they're very generous. They would invite you home, they would cook for you. They would spend nice time for you. They would drive you back home. And this is how Egyptians are. Going back to that particular time of the year, of course, the story of the Holy Family and how they escaped the Romans and flew to Egypt, or they escaped over and took over to Egypt at one particular date, and ever since the story started is a long story, but it's also a significance of a lot of things. Exactly. And it's the start of Christianity also at the same time. Haven't they gone to Egypt, they would have been in great danger. I mean, God only knows what would have happened to baby Jesus, God forbid. So let's take a flashback into that particular sacred story. And how did it start? When, peace be upon him, baby Jesus was born, what happened?
They actually arrived to they are coming from Sinai, and they arrived setting in specific places. And
let's start from the origin, where he was born. Where was he born, and what happened?
Yes, he is. The Jesus actually was born in the Middle East, as all of us know the famous story about this. After that, the Romans in that time they
were chasing him, chasing the boy.
Yes. They actually didn't want any religion to come over and make the people listen to the God, and they increasing their awareness about their religion, that we have a God and we have to believe in that, because the Roman in general, they believed in many gods, and if I will tell them there is different religion, there will be a different mind, can be changed. Even the ruler themselves, they didn't want something or anything like that. And they are arriving from Sinai, and they are stopped in many particular places here in Egypt. Like we have one of the most famous places they are actually setting in is the tree of the Virgin Mary here in Al Matareya. And if we actually look what behind the story of the Virgin Mary tree, they are sitting there, and they take from its water. They eat from the fruits around this area, and after they arrive to these places, the water it's dried, and they start to do bursting again, and they start to come from the earth again, which is a miracle. It's a miracle.
Let's talk about the Egyptians. They knew that Virgin Mary is coming and fleeing from the Romans, and they accepted them because Joseph was ordered to take the mother and the baby Jesus back then and go to Egypt. He's going to find refuge. And he was received by the inhabitants there, or the people, citizens there. How they received Mary and peace be upon her, Virgin
They received
Mary?
them actually by happiness. They want actually to protect
them. They took
them.
shelter in their homes?
Yes, actually. They provide them by food, and they choose their particular, the particular places to set in. They suggest places here that will be more safe. And actually, if we looking through the history and the stopping point, we will find also the place in the church, in the old Cairo. We have the seven churches there, and we have also the churches underground there. They are set in this place. Who will tell them about this particular place? The Egyptians actually is doing that. The Egyptians is
so they sheltered them. They were not afraid of the Romans.
No, Egyptians, they aren't afraid of the Romans when they said that we are Christians. And we also have a nice story about that. That only the Christian Egyptian who they have a cross in their right hand. Other people can do a kind of tattoos of cross in their bodies or something, but only the Egyptian Christian, when they are born, they put a cross on their right hand here. And the story behind that, that in the time of the persecution of the Romans, when a Christian Egyptian meet anybody, he start to do or draw on the land a part of fish, a half of fish. If he completes the fish, that means he's also a Christian, because in that time they use the fish as a cross.
Okay.
So a cross, if we are wearing a cross or some holy bandage or something like that to protect us. So in that time, because of the persecution, they didn't want to know
show the
others.
cross.
Exactly. They didn't want to show the cross. So if he complete the drawing of the fish, that means he is a Christian too. And after the end of the persecution, of the Roman persecution, because they are very proud of their religion, in that time they are starting to put the cross on their right hand, because when they waving or doing high for anyone, they will
You could see
found
the
the cross a kind of proud that we
Of
are
course, they're
Christian.
proud of their faith.
Exactly. So only the Christian Egyptian, they have this tradition from the old time, and actually not all the people know about this story, but this story started from the time of the persecution. If you want to hide your religion, you will not hide what inside you. So they create another kind of connect between each other to know if you are you will kill me because I'm a Christian, because I believe in this religion or not. So the Egyptian didn't fear from anything. They love themselves, they love their religion, and they are very proud by their country. So when the Virgin Mary arrived to Egypt, and they start to publish the Christianity religion, and the prophet start. Actually, this is normal, because Egypt is the land of publishing a lot of religion, especially the heavenly religion. So when they want to tell people about anything, they actually started from here in Egypt. And when they are stopped in this church, and they are going to other churches till they arrive to Asyut. In Asyut, till this moment, the Muslims and the Christian, in that time, they are celebrating with the tribe of the Holy Family in Egypt.
There are certain, features that distinguish or signifies that particular moment, which is some things that is still made until now, on Sundays, the palm.
Yes,
and
exactly.
the food, the type of food, and some sacred rituals that they do it. Our brothers and sisters, the Copts. So these are things that we need to talk about more, so that people would remember or know the origin of those stories, and why the Copts are doing them right now, like for the palm trees, for example.
Yes.
And at the same time, the food, the type of food.
For sure.
And but before we discuss that, let us also talk about the idea of Romans killing someone, swearing to kill someone for their beliefs,
Yes.
for their faith, while Egyptians, on the other hand, they would protect someone for their beliefs. They respect the beliefs.
Yes.
And this is how we started off, and this is how we are right now until this very moment. We remain until this very moment. We protect all beliefs, no matter if we agree with it or no. Regardless of any other religion that is not in Egypt, whatever the religion is, we protect the people's beliefs. We're not against the faith of beliefs or beliefs of anybody, as long as it is peaceful.
Yes, exactly.
But look at someone like the Romans back then at that time. They intended to kill a baby because of a belief.
Yes.
What's the significance of that?
Actually, we can look at this point from a political thing, because if they believe in any religion, that means they want their ruler from this religion to protect their beliefs. So they didn't want to go through that. Actually, I believe that when Roman arrived to Egypt and invaded Egypt, they changed it also in the tradition and in the religion of the Egyptian or the ancient Egyptian beliefs, because they want to add their habits, to add their religion to the Egyptian people, because it's considered as a part from the Roman Empire at that time. So they want to protect themselves by from any attack, by political thing, by religion,
By suppressing
exactly. For that reason, when we are talking about this persecution, is one of the worst things happened in the world. As you said, you kill someone because of his belief. This is something will be not acceptable, even in the old time, even in the ancient Egyptian time, when someone didn't believe in something they want. Actually, they didn't do this aggressive things. When we do the aggressive things, when someone come to take our land from our hands, this is the only aggressive thing. But according to the to the beliefs, or to respect the others people religion, this is something important. They didn't kill them. Actually, they cut their hands, they cut their legs,
They mutilate them.
Exactly. This is something bad.
They
something
terrorize the people in order to oppress them.
This is something not good, or a bad point in the Roman Empire, and somewhere. So in Egypt, we respect a lot of things from the old time till this moment. When the Virgin Mary escaped from this land to Egyptian land, we protect them. We create a places for them, and we still celebrating for this moment till now. And actually, when we are talking about the opening of Egypt by the Islamic, the Christian people at that time called the Muslims people to save them from the hands of Roman, actually. And we have the famous story with the Roman fortress. It was also located in the old Cairo. So what is the story and what has happened? The Muslims in that time, they cannot enter Egypt without the helping of the Christian people, because actually they have a great awareness about the Nile River, and all the entrance and the exits of this area in that time. So and also, when the Muslims become in Egypt, they know that Egyptian Muslims and the Christian, they are on one hand. So we found from Amr ibn al-As, the one who opened Egypt, we will found in the church of the hanging church a sentence: no one come to this church by something wrong or something bad. And we will also looking around the area, we will find the mosque of Amr ibn al-As beside the 7 churches and the monasteries. So we respect all the people beliefs, and
Great things.
Yes, exactly, because they didn't hurt me. They didn't affect on something bad on myself or on my family. We are living here together to be as a one hand, and this is back to the Virgin Mary and the message from being a prophet for all the people, to believe in you and to believe in God. Because if we're looking behind each heavenly religion, we will find one of the most important topic that you should believe in your heart. I will not tell you I believe in God. This is something between you and between your God. This is the message behind every heavenly religion. You should believe in God. You should do your prayer in right way, and also make the people happy. Don't kill them because they are actually doing something not like your religion. This is the point here.
Exactly. So let us go back to the trip of the Holy Family. It started off by the orders coming to Joseph to take the boy and his mom and fly to Egypt. They came over to Egypt on a donkey, and they were sheltered by some people from Egypt at their homes, where they were fed and they were secured and everything. And what happened later on?
Actually, they start to escape from place to place, to be far away from the Roman persecution.
Let's remember the most important stops that
yes,
were
exactly.
registered in the holy books and in history.
For sure, and the Virgin Mary tree and Al-Matariyah.
That was the first one.
It's started from Sinai, then in Sinai, Saint Catherine place, and they start to moving.
So what
to the-
happened in St. Catherine? Was there a significant story that?
No. They actually the place is about the Saint Catherine itself, about not about the Virgin Mary, but they are staying in this place, and they are moving to the old Cairo, which is now Old Cairo, and the church there, and the church there, and they are sitting in one of the most famous churches, and the well also, which is the water still in this well till this moment. You can see during your visit, and actually they are moving to many stop points during whole Egypt until they arrive. They passed by around 25 points. Then they arrive to Asyut. It's the last destination, and they start to stay in the cathedral. With the festivals doing there, and after the end of the persecution and the end of the Roman time actually by this one who's doing those bad things, and they actually started to back again to their place. That's it.
So there were several miracles that happened while baby Jesus was in Egypt. Let's remember them together.
Actually, we have something amazing about the miracles. When I said it's a miracle in the archaeology, when I said something, it's a miracle actually, there should be two witnesses on this miracle. So we can find one of the camps in the Coptic museum that we have in the old Cairo too. It's a camp, and the miracle that one is have a sick and something bad in his body, and the Christ come and put his hand on that, and he has become a health man.
He cured him. He healed.
Exactly. So
He was a boy back then. It's just an infant.
It's not like a boy, but actually this is something a miracle by the Jesus that happened, and it was witnessed by
two people.
So
he just touched him by his blessed hand, by his sacred hand.
Yes, exactly.
The infant back
yes,
then, baby
exactly.
Jesus.
And also
peace be upon him.
Peace be upon him. And also because we are talking about the Coptic museums, so and also one of the most amazing things and masterpieces in the Coptic museum that we have a stela. This stela actually describe the journey to the heaven with the Christ. So it's called the door of heaven. So we will find the door. Inside the door we have a cross. So the cross meaning the Christ, and beside the doors we will find the grapes. And this grapes, the meaning of the resurrection of the Christ again and again. And this is actually, if we are talking about this grapes, it's actually an ancient Egyptian symbol for the Osiris, the god who's resurrected to the nether life. So it's taken from the old time.
So these are all signs.
Exactly. All the history is the same. We are taking the same symbols for each thing. We are talking about the same history in all the world, which is at least that means Egypt is the land of the birth of the civilization. And also in this stela we have and two crosses and the two sides that refer to all the world, and the Christ hold the responsibility of the churches and the responsibility of the monasteries on his shoulder. So if you are doing something good in your life, and all the things is actually done in perfect way with your God, you will go to the heaven easily way. And what's also amazing, all of that is samples. It's not written words, but when we connect all these samples with each other, we create this masterpiece, or we found actually this masterpiece. So we will find an alpha and omega. This is like from A to Z, the beginning and the end, which is mean the Christ in the heaven with his resurrection. He is the beginning of the end of this life, or in this universe in general. So all of that is just assembles. So the miracles also happened with just a small samples. When we are talking about some person, he have a kind of disease in his body or something, it's go fine and in the good health with the help of the prophet. So or the Christ. Here is the point actually. So this is the amazing about the stories that happened here in Egypt. And also talking about the Coptic in general, we have here the Coptic Museum, and the Coptic Museum, one of the biggest Coptic Christian museums around all the world.
What does it exhibit?
Pieces from it's just like miracles, icons from the stories that happened with the Virgin Mary and her child during their journey in Egypt. And actually we have the most unique icons that talking about Saint Paula and Saint Antonius, which is they are start the monasticism in all the world. So the monasticism actually started from the land of Egypt, and it was published to all the world by the story of Saint Paula and Saint Antonius. When it's a start when Saint Paula with his brother, and they actually doing something for the money after their father's death. So Saint Paula, during they are walking, they said that we want to go to the judgment to see who will take all the money. So during their walking to the judge, they found a funeral on the street, and they decided, Saint Paula decided, when I will die, I will not take anything with me. So he take all the money, or give all his money to his brother, and he going to the mountain on the Red Sea to stay in this place alone, just worship to the God. And because he's a good man, the God love him, and he sent also a bird with him with a half of bread every day. Then the Saint Antonius also, when he become a teenager, he want to just leave everything, and he will want only to be alone and to worship to the God. And the God sent to him a message that there is a one worship to the God more than you. He wants the jealous start to be appeared, how a man going or talking or pray more than me. He start to search about Saint Paula, and that time he found him on the mountain of the Red Sea also, and they are talking to each other. From this time, Amba Paula actually died, and Saint Antonius start to publish the monasticism in all the world. So it started from here. So we have this icon also in the Coptic Museum, the baptizing of the Christ on the Jordan river also, and we have a lot of things that related to the church, that related to the monasteries, and it's talking about the culture itself, what they are using in the old church. Because if we are talking about the church, the modern church now in Egypt, it's completely different from the old church that we can find in the old Cairo and all around this area.
Finally, as we are wrapping up, this particular trip is really came with a great significance for Egyptians and for Christianity. And it shows that no matter how powerful could be humans, the power of God would prevail at the end. And that's why he protected baby Jesus, peace be upon him, until he spread the sacred religion, and the whole world knows the end of the story. But at the same time, that place or that story gave secrecy to the land of Egypt, because of the stops, the highlights, and because also of why God chose Egypt in particular, so that baby Jesus and his mom, Virgin Mary, would come and take refuge in it, which makes it a very special place on earth.
Exactly.
If you like to elaborate.
I will just end by Egypt is the land of peace.
Peace, yes.
So if we going through this story of the trip of the Holy Family. And if we are going to the churches and the monasteries, we can find the cooperation between the Muslims and the Christian with their celebrations by even it's not a Muslim celebration or the Christian celebration. We are the same. We are the Copts and the end of the time. We are all Egyptian. We respect each other. We care about each other. So we can take the moral from the story that we are a one hand from the beginning of the history.
That's true. And of course, we're always the beginning, because we were the origin of history at the same time. But at the same time, the stops where the Holy Family made at this sacred trip made Egypt like one of the best destinations to be visited.
Exactly. And now we can mention...
How did that affect tourism and religious tourism?
We can mention this strongly, that we have a religion tourism in Egypt. So if we are just focusing on a specific type of religion, maybe in Saudi Arabia or actually in Palestine, no, we have also one of Egypt, where is the bath of the royal family, the stops of the royal family that they are based in. So from here, strongly, we discussed this point through our previous actually episodes, that we are searching about religion, tourism to be here in the land of Egypt. And now by adding this to the heritage list, intangible heritage list of Egyptian country, we can strongly say that now in Egypt we have actually a religion tourism that you can visit in the time of the festival or the time of the Holy Family. They passed in these points, and the miracle of God when they protect them, because this is the first hand, and also by the helping of the Egyptian people and the protecting of the Egyptian people, the Virgin Mary and her child. Here is the point. Here is the safety in Egypt and the peace, the land of peace, and from the old time till this moment.
Of course, on that very, very special note, we'd like to thank you, Rana Ihab, your heritage researcher. And as usual, it has been a great pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
Of course, you enjoy the holidays and festivities, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Hope
so
to see
much.
you once back again. And I guess by this we come to the end of this edition of Windows on Current Affairs. Many thanks to all of you, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Till we see you again next week. That's a good time.